Alright, April reading wrap-up. I figured I'd go over the books I read last month as well as where I'm at with certain manga series, kind of keep up with my pacing and not fall behind in certain series. I picked up Samantha Downing's previous book because I like her as an author in terms of this is a mess. It is a car crash train wreck that you cannot look away from. Characters make such ridiculous decisions and it's entertaining as hell. That is the vibe I get for her for the majority of the books I read. And A Twisted Love Story, basically no difference. The premise starts off with two characters who have this codependent, messy relationship. They're on and off again all the time. And this time, the police shows up to the guy's work, basically saying his ex-girlfriend is being stalked and accused him of doing it. And he then thinks that's a good idea to show up at her house, being like, you called the police on me to get my attention? She's like, maybe. So they start sleeping together again, and now they're in a relationship, and they want to make it work. Except a murder happens, an assault goes on. The girl thought that the police would drop the investigation with him if she went to the police and say, no, we're good now, it wasn't him, I believe that, the stalking stopped, so you can drop this. But then they start investigating the past, and they have a secret that they will take to the grave, and they will not betray one another. And it's just messy, and it's a drama, and it's just mindless entertainment fun. Definitely not my favorite by her, and it definitely could have went messier, and I almost wish it did, but I basically read that one because I want to read all her works before her new one comes out, which is, I honestly forget the name of it. It's about a serial killer. Yeah, too old for this. It's about a serial killer who has to come out of retirement when someone, maybe I think it's a reporter? Yeah, an investigative journalist starts asking questions to a retired serial killer, and I'm assuming they don't know they're the serial killer. So it's like, do she come out of retirement to kill the reporter? I need to read that, so I figured I'd go through Samantha Downing's previous books as well. The next one I read is The Mist, and once I read 2 more Stephen King books, I'll do a 3-book Stephen King wrap-up, because as I read them mostly in publication order, so The Mist was next on my list. It's a nice little novella. I didn't know this was a novella. For whatever reason, I thought The Mist was one of his longer series, but apparently I was wrong. I think everyone knows the premise of The Mist. It rolls in, and characters are trapped in a supermarket. You have religious zealots and cult-like behavior, the madness of Lovecraftian horror outside, people not believing it's real, coming to the realization there is a threat, mob mentality, there's love. I would have loved this book so much more if the character wasn't away from his wife for like 18 hours and felt a sudden need to cheat on her. I mean, you want me to believe you love your wife and you haven't seen her for 18 hours and now you gotta go cheat with this chick that's next to you? Makes me dislike that character a little bit. But I knew the ending would be different than the movie, and I won't say spoilers, but I like the ending of the movie more because, I'm a fan of things that can rip my heart and soul it and crush it into a million pieces, leaving me with a feeling that I'll never recover from. The trauma is everything I want. But this one's different. It's more ominous. It's not subtle. More open-ended, more cold, more also hopeful. Like maybe you'll believe that there is a chance. You're grasping at this last shred of hope in the distance rather than have everything fall down around you and crush you in trauma. It's just a different feeling, a different vibe. And I do think the ending of this book matches the tone of the entire story as it was presented in the novella a lot better. It's definitely the unknown, the hope. The hope is there. So not my favorite Stephen King book, but I'm very, very happy that I did read it. Next one I read was Wake Up and Open Your Eyes. Now, I was going to read this based on the cover alone. That was just a creepy looking thing, and I wanted to read it. Now, the most important thing to know that I did not know going in, this is bordering on extreme horror in terms of the sexual aspects of it, incestuous vibes. Like, it's not extreme horror to my definition, but it pushes the boundary enough that I think common readers who are a little more sensitive to certain aspects of it and it did kind of come out of nowhere. I don't think it was necessary, quite honestly. This book could have happened without that. But, yeah, it might be a little jarring if you're not expecting it. So the premise is pretty simple, and it starts out lovely. The character is going to his parents' house who have been wrapped into this far-right leaning political agenda, and they're basically in a cult and they're acting weird, and he's going to check on them as he hasn't heard from them in a couple days, and he got some weird messages. And basically, I don't want to say what it is, but something has taken over the minds. Think possession, think zombies, think, not really Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but a possession type look at this. And the use of television and media to possess a group of the population, and then it flashes back and forth between different characters, different points in time, media, articles, and like YouTube videos and TikToks kind of thing to show how they got to the point when the assimilation kind of happened. I do think the intent is very ambitious and unique and interesting. I just don't think it was executed perfectly, but I appreciate the ambition. Commentary on Fox/Fax News, vaccines, conspiracies, school shootings, it's all touched upon. What didn't I like? I think it was the build-up. So the opening was really good, and then we flash back to a different character and see how the corruption kind of started. But it happened so quickly that it took away from the realism. It was all of a sudden you go from a normal family to absolute craziness, and they're full in the crazy. There's a little bit of a spiral into it, but not much time was taken there. So if we had just spent more emphasis on the gradual, slow indoctrination, that would have made everything feel more real, and therefore the horror more impactful. If it focused more on the way that politics can divide families in a realistic sense, rather than a supernatural sense happening so quickly, I would have liked it more. There was an attempt to make it, to focus on the political divide between families, but it was more in the very opening, and I would have liked to see more of it. Final thoughts would be it just leaned more into shock value rather than a slow corruption of the human psyche, and I would have preferred a more realistic look at it. But it was chaotic as hell, and that definitely kept me engaged, so I'm happy I read it. Oh my god, I was not expecting to love this one. The book is called I'm Glad My Mom Died. It is a memoir. Oh my god, I could not stop. I turned it on, physically could not stop listening to this book. Please listen to the audiobook because it's narrated by the author. I just know her from iCarly. Oh god almighty. The vulnerability, the raw look and honest reflection of growing up in a religious home by abusive narcissists, some physical violence, but not so much physical violence, but more codependence and love and hatred and resentment and jealousy, and the look at the acting industry and how that affected her as a child growing into adulthood and finding her peace, going to therapy, falling into addiction, trying to overcome the addiction, the people in her life who held her back and those who pulled her forward. This was brilliant. Every single word of it. It was darkly humorous. It was relatable. It was engaging. Dry humor, dark humor. It's perfect. It was honest to God, perfectly written. I haven't read many memoirs, but this one is my now favorite, and I don't see anything topping it. Alright, this one I still haven't read it to myself, and I still don't know how I feel about it, so I need to read it again, but Schoolgirl by Osamu Dazai. I have very mixed feelings because the ideas are really good. It just follows a girl's life in a single day from the time she wakes up to the time she goes to bed. Very short story, so it should be easy to read again. And focusing on isolation, the search for happiness, a need for retaining one's identity, that time between childhood and adulthood where you're trying to grow in independence and people are looking at you differently and you're taking on more responsibilities. There's misogynistic thoughts that she has that the culture has ingrained on her, and it's an interesting character trait, but she also has judgment for herself and the pressure that she's under. And again, just looking for something that makes you happy and not knowing if you're ever going to find it. I like the focus on looking for one's own identity. I do. It's just, this is such a fragmented stream of consciousness storytelling style, and I hate stream of consciousness. But that's the only way this story could work, though. It works to focus on the character's thoughts and her feelings and not being able to make full sense of it and just being bombarded by all these emotions and thoughts in this vulnerable age of hers. You would not be able to get across her inner turmoil without the stream of consciousness thoughts writing style. I don't think you could. Did I enjoy reading it? I don't know. I need to read it again. I really, really do. I did not like Osamu Dazai's other book, No Longer Human. I can't believe I forgot the name of that one. But this one made me really want to read more of his works. Oh, sweet love of God. Why? I know why I read this one, because there was a little challenge on Goodreads where you had to choose between different books to meet a criteria and fill a challenge, and this one was on it. And I'm like, oh, I've been wanting to read this one for a while, so let me pick up this one. I seen this cover around. It had some good reviews. Did I read a different book than someone else? Because, my God, this was terrible. And it's disappointing because it started off with such an interesting premise. So we look at multiple personality disorder with a character, and she has many different alters. And I've never read a book like that before, so I figured, hey, this is interesting. And I like the idea that they all have different personalities, skill sets and interest, and some are different ages. One of them is obsessed with a isekai. I'm assuming it was an anime, might have been a manga series, some kind of isekai series, and I'm wondering if that's how I sound when I talk to people, because I'm not saying she was annoying. I will say she was a little much, and I apologize to my parents because I bring up anime way too much to them sometimes, and I bet you I sound like her. The work that was done, and I'm assuming research was done to make an accurate depiction. I don't know enough about the disorder to say one way or the other, but like inside her mind, there was a place where the alters lived, and like the dominant main personality couldn't go in there too. It was interesting. It was different. It was unique. I was invested. I wanted to do it. Now, the first issue I had with this book is my own pet peeve that has nothing to do with the story itself. I don't like characters who lie or are confused. If I can get secondhand embarrassment from it, not my vibe. Not a fan. I don't like people bluffing and being dishonest. That's not something I like in this sense. So the main body personality has been dormant for many years, and then she comes to the front consciousness, takes over the body again, regains control, but she has had a rough life, so she wanted to stay in suppressed dormancy while everyone else just lives the life. And then she comes to, one of her personalities tells her, or one of her alters tells her, oh yeah, COVID happened, we got this for president, the world's gone to hell, and they're just being bombarded with all this information. Oh, you gotta wear masks now, but some people aren't. They say the pandemic's over, but maybe it's not. She's like, pandemic? What? She's all confused, and she just got caught up real quick. She's standing on a pier, and a boat is coming to take her to her new job, but she doesn't know what the job is. She doesn't know how it was applied for. She just found out that she's been kicked out of her, long-time apartment. They lost, couldn't pay the rents kind of thing. And now she is in a job that she does not know anything about, don't know the history. The person that's talking to her is like, didn't they tell you this stuff when you applied? She's like, oh yeah, totally did. I just wanted to confirm with you. And I don't like that. That's not an issue with the book. That's an issue. I don't like that vibe for me. But then the story is just basically aimless. She doesn't even spend that much time on the island, but it seems to drag on with just being introduced to different characters, spending a night there, and more characters being introduced, and everyone exposition dumping everything that she needs to know, and just aimlessly, almost meandering slowly across the island, and many, many pages when really only like a day has passed. Now, there's a mystery going on because one of her personalities are going missing, and they think the other alters think maybe she had something to do with it, and they're not telling her anything, so she can't actively help to figure out what's going on. So again, she seems like an aimless character, not knowing the plot that's happening in her own head. Now, there's a murder that is described in the synopsis of the book that does not happen until, I don't think this is a spoiler, I'm sorry if it is, the last third of the book. So when I say it's aimless, getting to the thing that I picked up this book for, that's what I mean there. But then it sidesteps so quickly. I'm talking characters are just like, huh, they were murdered. Yeah, I mean, we could call the police, or we'll deal with it later. Hey, let's go outside and do this instead. No emotion. Every other character besides the protagonists and our alters have like no personality, no depth to them. The majority of them exist just to be unlikable villains. And when you are so one-dimensional, that really hurts me in terms of enjoyment. I can't go into the main reason I despise this without spoilers. And it was not for me. It was not for me at all. Happy other people liked it. I liked the idea. I know it could sound like I'm not describing the multiple personalities well, but it was an interesting take with a thriller book, and I would want to read another one to see if that's something that I enjoy in a thriller. Next, I finally finished Babel. Where is it? Because it's on my bookshelf. Like in 2022, and I read a good... I don't know, like, oh god, you can see where the sun had hit the pages. I do not take good care of my books. I'm sorry. I read probably like 60% of it in a couple weeks, maybe like a week or two. I had it almost finished. And when I tell you, I was obsessed with it. The character work was brilliant. You have Robin. He was taken from his home after his family had died. Was it to cholera, some kind of disease, and was taken in by this mentor whose name, I make his name forgotten to time. We don't care about him. He took him in, he raised him. The pressure and abuse this sweet boy suffered to be the best that he could be, to understand language, because in this world, language is the source of power. You take silver working and you combine words of different languages, and you have to have a full understanding of the language and these words for this really to work. And what's lost in translation will be presented as a magic, power, luck, anything. I've never seen this happen in a book. Not that I'm very well versed in fantasy, but the way like colonialism is tied into the magic system. I loved it. It was beautiful. It was perfect. It was excellent. And again, the character work. When I tell you, it feels like the thoughts from my own mind were plucked from my brain and put into the story when he's like anxious and studying for a test and the pressure that he's under. Oh my god. The relationships he builds with his classmates, those from other cultures, those from Western cultures. It's so good. It's so good. And the world building. No, I like the world. It's fine. I don't pay that much attention to the world building. It's not something I value, but it was done so well. The way the magic just tied into every aspect of the world. But then it starts to change. And this isn't a negative. It's just a slight annoyance. We had such a character-driven focus book as he is falling into like a rebellion who wants to prevent a war and stuff like that that's going on and stop the colonization of different cultures and the profiting from their labor. But then it feels like it turns into a dictation of an essay where the characters I love and ones who betrayed me are no longer themselves. I'm not saying the betrayal is fine. That should have happened for the character. That makes so much sense and I loved it. But it feels like the characters were no longer taking action based on how I feel they would as a character. They were taking actions to make the plot go a certain way, to tell the themes that it wanted it to tell. The themes were not subtle in the beginning of the book, but they came so heavy-handed near the end, like to make sure the reader did not miss the thesis, the dogma of this book. And I'm just like, I would have liked it to stay a little bit more subtle instead of spelling everything out. But I understand sometimes you need a book that just hammers the themes on your head, and that's fine. This is still an ambitious book. I don't think it nailed the execution in my personal opinion, but I don't have any genuine criticisms. This was an intentional choice that the author made, and it honestly isn't a wrong choice. It just took away from some of my personal investment near the end. But by God, this was a read. I think I just loved seeing the characters navigating through school, a fictionalized version of Oxford in the Tower of Babel, however you pronounce it. The feeling of love and camaraderie and compassion and that they genuinely feel for their friend group. How they rely on each other and lean on each other. It was so well done. And my last one that I read this month was The Berry Pickers. Again, picked it up because it was on the Goodreads read this book to fill this prompt, and it was already on my TBR, and I didn't really know what it is. I just seen blueberries on the cover, and I'm like, that's cute. I like this. So I was very, very pleased. I believe it takes place in Nova Scotia, which is very close to Newfoundland, and has a similar vibe in terms of culture and environment, and the people just feel, it reminded me of home. It wasn't quite like home. Newfoundland has a very distinct personality, but I still really liked this. And I believe it was a Micmac child was gone missing, but very clearly by the text was kidnapped. And I was not expecting to love this, because if I say it out loud, it sounds like something I would not like, because there is no secret. You're following two characters, and though not explicitly said, it is extremely, extremely clear that it is the young sister who had been kidnapped and raised away from her own culture, and her brother as he faces many things throughout his life. And without that mystery of, oh, what happened to the sister? We know what happened to the sister. I feel like I shouldn't have that much investment, because there's no real plot. And I've said many times, I don't like a meandering plot that feels aimless, but this doesn't feel aimless. Even though there's no set goal and character choices driving the narrative, the character work, the way they are bonded together, even if the sister was too young and don't really remember her family, you see the reflection of each other. You see how they are similar. You see them throughout their lives facing hardships, the choices that they're making, how they are drawn away from each other and together, and the time that she spends with her kidnapped family, the messed up mindset, the psychological abuse and protectiveness, we'll call it, that this adopted mother has, and learning the truth of it, and the mixed feelings that brings in the daughter. Meanwhile, her birth mother, her grief of her children, and the prejudice that they face, and the mistreatment, and how they work and survive and love each other. This is a book of love, and it is just beautifully written. My God, it's gorgeous. I strongly recommend this one. I know it feels like I probably said everything about the book, but you get that in like the first couple pages, and then it's just their life. And it's beautiful. And I love it. It was so good. Is it a 5-star? I gave 4.5 to 5 stars easy. I think that, yeah, I'll go with 4.5. The only thing stopping it from being that 5 stars is the focus. I would have, there's generational trauma, there's of course the kidnapping, there's cycles of abuse and addiction. That's all touched upon, but it's not a driving focus of the book. And if none of those were the focus, that's also fine. I just would have loved a little bit more focus to the narrative, but I don't think that's what this book wanted to be. So that's absolutely fine, of course. And yeah, that's all I got for books. As for where I'm at in manga series, where is Berserk? All right, I am in my volume 11 volume set, and I just finished a shocking chapter, The Midland Regular Army. So I will say that a proposal has been announced. A betrothal, betrothal, if you will. Not happy about it, but it's entertaining as hell. What else have I been reading? So a Berserk video will be out soon. I am currently on episode 9 of Orb, and it is phenomenal. It's just not a series that I find easily bingeable. It's very enjoyable, but I need to be able to sit down, pay attention, be immersed. It can't be a series that I'm watching just casually. Clearly it's in sub form, so I also can't be like eating while I do it. I need to focus on the screen and read it. But more so than that, I can't be like tired. I need to pay attention to the words that are being said, the characters, quite literally everything. Very, very much a focused show. Not essentially what I'm saying, it's not like Solo Leveling, where I can just have brain turned off, mindless entertainment, and vibe with it. So I am really enjoying Orb. I have not picked up Dragon Ball Daima yet. I I really wish I was further into the Apothecary Diaries Season 2. I'm only at episode 4. It's wonderful. I just was so addicted to Season 1, and Season 2 hasn't hooked me the same way Season 1 did. But, I mean, I have no complaints. I just haven't got into it. Haven't picked up Ranma 1/2 yet. That's all for anime. And manga, so chapter 284 for Berserk is where I'm at. Chainsaw Man, I'm at chapter 193. And let's see how far away that puts me from being up to date. Oh, I'm sorry. I just didn't update my my anime list. I have read chapter 196. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm 6 away from being caught up with Be Current with Chainsaw Man. I love Chainsaw Man so very much. And I want to make a video about that one as well, but I feel like I kind of just took that one for myself and was reading it and not making videos as I go. So I feel like I need to reread part 2 and just talk about each section and everything I love about it. So I'll probably end up doing that. Because my love for Chainsaw Man is mildly concerning. It is wonderful. Okay, and Goodnight Pun Pun. Am I? No, I'm not caught up. I need to pay more attention with my anime list. Okay, I'm on chapter 58. This series is so good. The combination of realism, surrealism, horror, psychological trauma. I love the art style. It is a combination of so many things, and it's so beautiful and tragic, and I'm loving it. I'm loving this. I'm assuming it's psychological horror. There's nothing else to say about it. The focus on abuse and a need for belong, finding your place in the world, the aimless search of love and happiness is so good. I'll have coherent thoughts about it when I have some time to sit back and think about the series as a whole, what it's trying to say, and where it's going. But it's so good. All right, and I'm clearly caught up with One Piece. It's phenomenal. I need the next chapter. Where is the next chapter of One Piece Oda? I need it. But at the same time, I'm aware, mental health, take your time. No rush. If you need breaks, take breaks. But I need the next chapter. I'm only slightly exaggerating. Yeah, and it looks like that is it. That's all I've been reading and watching for April, and I will check in later.